Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for clicking on my audio. If you're listening to this, Self-Love Mystic, with the message are just a sharing of some reflections of my own, from my own living and experiences. That's what I do here. So I just got back from the gym. I'm still on my sabbatical, my sacred sabbatical. Yeah, I am trying to tap in to see what the message is, feel out what the message is. Because I realized that I usually don't get the real message until I actually sit down to record. I don't know what that's about. It don't be planned out, and I don't even waste my time trying to plan it out before I sit down to talk because it ends up changing. Based, just from the past, I've done recordings long ago before now. So anyways, starting with today's date. Today's date is February the 10th. I'm feeling intuitively led to go to kind of deep dive into my numbers. My numbers, basically like my sacred perspective of the numbers that illustrate the time, the current time. So today I do my numbers, I get 5 and I get 1. I do my calculations, right? 5 and 1 equaling up to 6. Okay, so I'm going into 6. I'm going into 6. The number 6. The number 6 is important for me this year, actually. And that's so funny because now the timer says 6:06. I didn't plan that out. I did not plan that out, bro. Okay, well, then what does that mean? The number sequence today. Because I do realize often when I record and then afterwards when the title comes to me, it's often been a number, a 3-digit number. And I will be honest, earlier I was thinking about the number 666. And I don't want nobody getting triggered being like, oh my God, the devil and da-da-da-da-da. Because, baby, I am far from being anything in relation to a devil. Not saying I'm all love and light, because that don't make no sense in this world. But I ain't nobody's devil. I ain't nobody's demon. Now I could be your villain, temporarily, if I move to take it there, what Kendrick said. But no, that ain't my heart. So I don't look at that number as equated to the devil. I do believe and feel that there is a significant meaning and message behind that number that the powers that be do not want folks to know about. I think that, and now I'm channeling, so you better listen because I feel it. I feel that number, they put fear, they attach fear to that number. That's nothing but fear mongering to play on your emotions and your naive. How the fuck do you say the word? Naivety, yes. God dang. And not yours, but ours, right? Because I don't know. I never been convinced. I always been a questioning soul, especially as a child. Like, why? Why? Like, tell me more. Like, what? Don't just say, oh, this is what it is, and think that I'm just gonna roll with it. I never. And I consider it a gift to be inquisitive the way that I am. But yeah, I feel like it's nothing but fear mongering. So why would it be fear mongering? Why would they attach fear to that number? Obviously, it's something that they don't want us to know. So, for myself, I don't look at no numbers as evil. That's stupid. That's stupid. To look at any number as evil, it's a code. Decode the code. Everything runs on code. These days, everything involves technology. Technology is pure code. Everything is code. So that's interesting. I need to write that down. Code and then like cold, like temperature, like cold temperature or climate. I don't know. I don't know yet, but I just heard take your feelings out of it. Because when something is cold, like it's not hot, like ain't no emotions running. Like it's because it's not about your feelings with this situation. It's not about your feelings when it comes to the numbers and the coding and the way that the matrix works. It's not about your feelings. It's like for you to be able to understand, we have to look from we have to look through focused eyes. We have to be focused, not distracted. And you know how people distract us? By making us feel fear, by making us feel, just feel something. And being like, oh my goodness, I feel like I want to go that way. Oh my goodness, look, he's so handsome. I want to go that way. And even that, it's not like, oh, I see it and I like it. It's like, no, you see it and it make you feel a way, so you like it. So there's something when it comes to the need to know. It doesn't involve your feelings, right? It's about the facts. I sound just like an Aquarius. I am an Aquarius. Yeah, it ain't about your feelings, it's the facts. So with the number 666, let's get back to that. Okay, this is what I'm being led to go ahead and look into. So, and just share with you the way my mind processes information around numbers right now. But I'm always learning and growing. I feel like that's something we all should be always doing. But it's definitely something I'm obsessed with. So I don't consider this information as finite. I consider it information that the universe, source, most high, allows me to tap in and receive at this point in time. But as time progresses, so does the ability to tap into more information or receive more information. Okay. So what I have right now, this is how I look at the number 6. Because we're just going to look at, anytime you're looking at a triple digit number like that, you want to look at, well, what's the single number? Like, what's behind just the single number? So I'm looking at the number 6. First of all, one thing that I have recently realized about the number 6, and this is why I say it's important to me this year, but also all together, because when I do numerology my way, there's probably some other numerologists out there who agree, but I don't know them. So I feel like this is, again, like something else, or just information that I've been allowed to tap into, like divine information, sacred information. So when I do numerology my way, and I refer to it now as sacred numerology, I find that the life path 6 I'm more in alignment with life path 6 versus life path 5. When I do numerology, quote unquote, their way, they tell me my life path is 5. When I do it the other way, that feels like it makes more sense to me, it's life path 6. And not just life path 6, but life path 33. And it's just interesting because I have met many people with their life path 33, that their life path as 33 when you do numerology, quote unquote, their way. And I've been like perplexed. So I'm like, what? Then that would make me feel like, okay, there's some lies out here about life path 33, because the ones that I'm seeing, not trying to sound judgmental or judgy, or disapproving, but I mean, just with spiritual eyes and spiritual ears, and then also just like knowing these folks, I'm like, I, I'm confused, right? So, for instance, doing numerology their way, my biological mother would be life path 33. Um, my biological mother. So one of the things about life path 33 that they say, okay, maybe I'm being led to look into 33. One of the things about life path 33 that they put out there, and that I actually align with, because I feel like they get it wrong. Like some people get it wrong. This is how I look at the master numbers, and this is what I feel like makes sense. Life path 11, master number 11, is the master teacher. That was Jesus. Jesus was the master teacher. He taught. That's what he came to do, and that's what he did. He taught. Okay? Master number 22 is the master builder. Okay? Jesus wasn't out there building, was he? They say he was a construction worker or whatever, but when he moved about, he even said, I don't have any place to rest my head. Like, I don't have my own house, and he even spoke to his quote unquote church being built. It wasn't him building it. He said he was talking of Peter, with quotations, because everything's symbolic. He said, this will be my rock that my church will be built on, and that I will build my church on. So speaking from a spiritual perspective, right? Because he was going to be gone when his church was going to be built. So now, master number 22, we got to look at that like, well, now where does that come from, right? And it's building. So Jesus was doing the teaching, and then comes the building, and then master 33 is the healer. Master number 33 is the master healer. Okay. So so the way I feel like is, and yeah, Jesus did some healing, like he healed some folks, but his duty, I feel, was to teach. It's not that, because you're this number now you can't do none of the other things. It's like, no, you can still, but what are you known for? Jesus was known for his teachings. It's clear as day. That's what he was known for his teachings. He caught people's attention due to the miracles he performed, but he caught their attention to teach them. That was the whole point of his mission. So I'm not convinced in my spirit, I'm not convicted in my spirit that Jesus was master number 33. He was master number 11. He was a teacher. He was the master teacher. Okay, an ascended master sent to teach. So master number 33 is what I'm focused on. That's the master healer, not teacher. Healer. Not that you ain't gonna do no teaching, but your duty is to heal, right? So now, take that back to me letting you know that my mother is a life path 33 when you use their numerology. My mother now is 50, I think she's 50 years old, 50, 51, probably about to turn 51, I think. My mother's in prison. She's been in prison just about all my life, or at least she was going to jail first, and then she went to prison when I was, I think, 12 or 9 or something. So I wasn't raised with her. I didn't grow up knowing her, but I knew of her. I didn't forget her. I knew of her. So then eventually we reunited during my early 20s. Okay. She is in prison for some very bad things, obviously, even though I think that they brought the hammer down on her for real. But also, she did hurt people. She did hurt people really bad. And so, not to say she wasn't hurt, but she did hurt people really bad. And so, and I don't know why her parole, like, keeps getting denied. Like, I've been tracking, and, she's been denied parole, I think, multiple times or something like that. So, I don't know. I don't know. All I'm going to say, she's life path 33, though. And this is a woman who, she refuses to tell me who my father is, or even tell me anything that she knows about who my father might be. Like, she don't want me to know that information. she has spent the story of, I don't know. She don't even say I don't know. She says, I can't tell you. I can't tell you that information. And to me, I take offense. I take offense to that because without you telling me more information, and as to like why, like I said, I'm inquisitive, I take offense to that. You know what I mean? This is a woman who, by the time we reconnected, this is happening while we reconnected. So you've been without me for 20 something years, and you're still in this mindset, right? So then the other thing is, she had audacity to ask me about bringing in drugs for her to make money in the prisons or whatever, in her prison. And even though she cried a whole bunch of tears of remorse for even asking me that afterwards, I think after she realized that I wasn't going for that, I feel like what she was doing was she tried it. You know, she tried it. And I feel like if I was to say yeah, she wouldn't have been crying them tears. So I think she was trying to manipulate me, you know, to make me not see her as a bad person. And I didn't appreciate that. You know, I didn't appreciate her like going silent on me, like pulling back, like a kind of like an avoidant type of situation. But I don't know, like she would pull back. You know, I'm visiting, you know, writing letters. And she would call, you know, in however way she would be able to call. And at times she would pull back, and I wouldn't be hearing from her and stuff, or she wouldn't be responding. And then she did that more than once. The last time she did it, I pulled back. So you ain't doing this shit to me, lady. I didn't grow up with you. You didn't raise me, and you think we have time to play games like this? You know? So no, we ain't doing that. And for me, that ain't healing shit. And some people could probably say, well, maybe it's her life. She's supposed to learn how to da. Listen, the problem is you're creating harm. You're creating harm for someone else to heal from, literally. I had to deep dive into the story that ended her up in prison, and only part of it goes like this. A man ended up so harmed and stabbed in the stomach by her that he had to be in the hospital for 8 months. He was a married Latino man, I think. Couldn't speak English. Had kids, and was up in the fucking hospital for 8 months with a colostomy bag. I couldn't imagine me doing that to somebody, especially somebody that I'm not defending myself from. Y'all went for that man. And it sticks with me, regardless of the fact that that's my mother, regardless of the fact that she birthed me from a human to another human. That shit's wrong. And for myself, I wouldn't be able. How do you repent of that? Like, the man didn't even die. He suffered. He suffered for a very long time, taken away from his family for 8 months. Think of the financial repercussions of that. Think of he obviously has a family, probably head of his household. He can't be there for his people. You know what I mean? Like, the karma for that. You know, so how does a person like that, how is a person who does such things, and obviously that wasn't all that she did, how is that soul a master of a master healer? Now I will say, I do feel like the energy of 33 is in her energy. So she was a very big deal. She was a very big deal. I feel like in the streets, so much that she had opportunity to have real big impact. And I mean, I think she did have impact, but just not in a great way. I don't know what she's been doing in the prison, what impact she's been making in the prison, but I can tell you the fact that she came to me with that request about bringing in drugs and stuff, whatever, and this is after we've met in person, and she talking about her and her Bible, her and her Bible, her and her Bible. Get out my face with that. Like, no. I'm tired of these religious hypocrites. And yes, her included. I'm sorry, but yes, her included. I don't trust you. Then you talk down on this other person in there, apparently doing witchcraft and stuff, and you talking about whatever she was doing, it worked, da-da-da-da-da. And you're trying to tell me that you don't participate. But when you sitting at the table with me during visitation, it's all about Bible, because you know my spirit. You're getting clarity on my spirit. And now I feel like, in hindsight, almost every time she was shedding tears, it was like something behind it, like crocodile, like. So even when she cried when I told her about my situation growing up, I just felt like, I don't know, like the mother in her was not present. So, like even listening to my story, So, okay. So I do feel like she has some strong energy on her, which does attract other strong energies, Like even her doing what she was doing and all up in the streets and stuff like that. Like, I don't feel like she wasn't demonically influenced. I think she was. But also, I just feel like there are just some things that a soul with a big conscience, I don't know, I don't know. But that's just my mother. Limited information, okay? There's a guy I met, I fell in love with. He's a master number 33. When you do their numbers, when you do numerology, quote unquote, their way, okay? He's master number 33. This is another man who spent a lot of time in prison. Another person who spent a lot of time in prison. When I met him, he had been to prison or jail for, I guess, a total of like 10 plus years, like going in and out, I think, or something like that. And mainly being for thievery. So stealing from people, And he told me some stories and how he also would be feeling like led into situations. But let me tell you about this man in my life. Being in my life, I attracted a lot of, I think because of me coinciding with his energy in a way, and for love, by the way, love and friendship, not for no stupid shit, okay? But during that time, I attracted a lot of darkness towards me that showed up in the form of bullets, like through my car, through my place of living, my duplex where I was living at. Just lots of negative energies. And he always tried to make it seem like he wasn't a part of any type of negative intentions coming my way. But I had dreams. And I just even heard in my mind, like he was the fallout guy. Like he was the guy sent to, because through my connection to him, now other people got a bullseye on me, right? Like he's the bullet, like kind of thing, or, like the bait for me to take. And then all these other energies attached to him now can get to me. Hating ass females, witches, other dudes hating secretly on him and secretly wanting me, and then people in general just wanting to benefit off of my energy. So, and also, again, it was like I was attracted to him and felt like I wanted him as like a protective force in my life, especially due to where I lived and the fact that he knew a whole bunch of other people. And he would insinuate that he was a big deal, you know. Again, it's like a lot of energy attached to him in terms of, yes, being a big deal in a way, but then what are you doing with that? Like, you ain't healing nothing. You're adding to the destruction, right? So that was that person. That's what I'm saying. I'm not just focused on my mother, but also more people that I've known. So another person, I met him. This is when me and that dude that I fell in love with, we were never in a relationship. We just dealt with each other real heavy, but on and off, on and off. So during one of the off times, I met somebody else who also was another big deal and was just released from prison. How about it? And he was trying to approach me the first time he saw me, or the first time I saw him. And I rejected him because I remember I was annoyed and irritated. I was like, no. He tried again, and I was like, okay, because he pressed, and he was handsome, and he was like large and in charge. That was like my favorite. That's been my favorite type of, energy, large and in charge. And he looked handsome. He had a nice build, and when we had started having conversation, and I liked the conversation. He sounded articulate, and I liked the way he looked. So it was like it's like I was seduced a little bit. But we connected, and I was like, and I don't judge people because of like the whole prison past. Look at my mother. My brother's in prison too, and he's a master number 11 when you do their numerology. Also somebody who hurt a lot of people. My brother was kind of crazy, okay? But yeah, this guy, and he was just released from prison, and we spent a lot of time together, master number 33. When you do it, the numerology their way. So first of all, that's 333s, 666. And he was somebody that I was like, I'm gonna give a chance, because I was in the state of like, I want my person. This could be my person. Like, I was very open-minded. And so, because I'm like, I don't know, his story, and I'm not judging just off of the fact that you've been to prison. Now I've changed that, because I think life has just shown me, like, internet, it is safe for you to have the standard of if you had a prison record, I don't think I'm the person for you. Like, just because of what I've gone through, not because of you, but just because of what I've gone through, it is revealed to me over and over and over again that is a standard that maybe I should have. Like, I'm straight. I'm good. I prefer somebody who's clean, who don't need me trying to, be their clean shield. So anyways, that guy, we spent some time together. One time we went out to eat, and he was on the verge of about to erupt in the fucking restaurant because something with the waiter, and to me, it was minor, but he was about to trip and flip. And I'm like, fuck, I don't move like that. I don't disrespect servers. I've been a server. Spiritually, I am a server, I don't do that. And so, and then he was trying to manipulate me into letting him stay the night and stuff like that. He was a person who eventually his mindset was revealed to me that he, for instance, it was something that happened where my work days were 10-hour days on my feet just about the whole day, besides 2 30-minute breaks. Okay. And he had the nerve one day to be like, and this is after we had sex. We had sex one time. So then he reveals to me, where his mindset really is, because that's what happens when they get sex. They reveal themselves because they get comfortable and they think they got you, And I like when they get comfortable. I'm like, show me the real. I want you to get comfortable, So he we was on the phone talking one time, and he was all like, "Oh yeah, I think you could cook us some dinner after you get off work." Um, Bitch, what? I'm at work 10 hours. No. And then I'm like, I'd have to go to the grocery store, and then he gonna say, "Well, I could buy the food or whatever. I'd have to be standing up in my kitchen cooking after my 10-hour workday. You got me fucked up, right?" So, but I peeped that, and then, he was trying to make it seem like he wasn't talking to nobody else and all of that, and yes, he was. I ended up in a fucking group chat. Somebody texting, talking about, this is, and I'm seeing the other messages, and they saying his name, and I text him. I said, "I told you I don't deal with no effing drama. You got me fucked up. Do not call my phone no more." Like, again. And I mean, it was at least 5 other numbers. And I caught him in a lie. Before that, caught him in a lie. He was talking something about where he was. He was lying, So, and and one time he was in my face at my place trying to manipulate me into thinking that, into trying to have him stay the night, and I didn't want to do that. So it was no manipulation, selfish, trying to get what you want, but also it's like there's this potential to do great work. Like we talked about his ideas he had for this like nonprofit thing or whatever, and it's like there's like a power granted to you, but then like what do you do with it, So I think it's like maybe the dark side of Life Path 33, where instead of healing and which is a constructive gesture, you're destructing, right? You're destroying, you're hurting. Instead of healing, you're harming, right? So, and then he had the nerve to, I guess he ended up back in prison and wrote me a letter talking some BS. "Oh, I realized I fell in love with you." I ignored that shit, threw it away. Like, bro. And this is after the whole thing of me ending me up in a group chat with your other females. You got me fucked up. So, and if anything, I feel like all these people, including my mother, were placed in my life, even though I know she birthed me, but even with her birthing me and then us reconnecting. So reconnecting was her being brought into my life. It was for the purpose of them possibly being able to heal. But all they wanted to do was manipulate me and use me, which is hurtful. Who else? I do believe there's another person who he was a fake friend. He was my so-called friend for 5 years. Let me do his math. I do believe he was 33. 9 plus 1991 plus, was it 5? 15? It was something. I had gotten 33, but I don't remember his number. His full on. 6. I don't remember his full on birthday. but I could have sworn, because I have done it before, and I was like, God damn, he's a 33, but he had lied about his birthday, but I found it online. And the only reason I found it online, because this dude had the nerves to bring me into, he had the nerves to sue me with some blatant, disrespectful, potentially life-harming lies. But I'm about to find his birthday, because I think I had done the math after finding his info online and realized he's a 33. Okay, I'm a little silent now. Sorry, hold on. I'm gonna pause. Okay, I'm just now resuming. I just had some other information that came up. That was crazy. Ow. Okay, no. So his birthday's the 6th, 7. I had gotten 33. Did I do something wrong? Let me see. He's a 7. You know what? No, I had gotten. No, that says the numbers I had done at a different time shows him as, it's like one number off, he'd be a 33, but from what it looks like, he's a 7. So anyways, moving on. Okay, I'm gonna get back to that because I was being drawn down a rabbit hole. So, that's so crazy though, because I had gotten his birthday date. I think that's what he used to tell me the date, his birthday was, and I think it was a lie. Anyways, okay, I'm just saying, okay, so really that's just 333, so we won't include him. But there was a person who was a so-called friend who did the ultimate betrayal. I mean, sued me, just blatant lies, made up a whole story, I promise. Like, after pretending to be my friend for 5 years. So, the other person that I got the 33 from, because I'm thinking, who else? I feel like I have met other people also with 33, but the only 3 that I remember now, which I think I should note this down, is my mother, what's his name that I had loved, and what's his name from prison. I'm gonna write those down. But there's another person who, when I first got the number 33, well, no, let's take it back to when I was playing basketball in high school. I was number 33. Um, my jersey was 33, and then I had met a guy, and he also played basketball, and we became boyfriend girlfriend eventually after being friends for like 3 years. Um, and he played basketball, and his jersey was 33. So I thought that was interesting. I used to look at that like, oh, synchronicity. But there was someone that I grew up loving. Um, this was after that guy who we both played basketball. This other guy I started like dealing with, dating, the longest situationship of my life. He, I knew him as a kid, like when I was younger, because we lived in the same neighborhood. He was older. When I became of age and single, we started dealing with each other. Now, when I do sacred numerology on him, I get 33 on him. His other number from doing numerology, like the normal quote unquote way, he's I think an 8. So he also was another person with big deal energy. Um, and again, like we connected in a way that I've never really connected with nobody else. And at the time, I didn't know this sacred numerology perspective. I didn't even know numerology, to be honest, like regular numerology. But I think he did. And so to this day, like I've never had a more significant connection with anyone else, and not as long, even though we went on and off. But see, for him, he is 100% like narcissist personality disorder type, narcissistic personality disorder. And with him, I eventually learned I was experiencing the empath narcissist dynamic. When I started learning about that, like I immediately knew that was my dynamic with him, was why it was hard to break. And with him, I did feel like, now let me speak on him, because now he's the only person outside of myself that I now have met with 33 as his sacred numerology information. So with him, he wasn't somebody who like harmed people physically. He never had, I think he went to jail for a little bit, like a weekend or something like that. I think he had like somewhat domestic violence accusations, but I think he would just have like heated incidents with his baby mama. But I think then his baby mama was the one getting him out. So it wasn't no, like, I don't think it was physical. I think it was like disturbing the peace type stuff. I can't say that he was out here in the streets trying to kill people. He wasn't out here trying to, I don't think he was out here trying to ruin people's lives in that way, like all them other folks that I mentioned with 33 as their normal life path number. He was just somebody, and I think this is revealed through his other number, his normal number being life path 8. He was about gain. He was about, he was about gain. Now he was talented. So this is why I say like this big deal energy, he was talented. That was one thing that I fell in love with about him, was the way his mind worked when it came to his writing for his music. He was a lyricist, like for real. And he was deep. But I think a part of the issue with him was he would, I think both him and myself came from dysfunctional families. I think he was broken. His parents were divorced. He was the youngest of his 3 siblings. Um, and I think what happened was he was conceived after they were divorced or something like that. It was weird the way he came through. Um, I remember him telling me like his background, and I don't think he was a black heart. I think he got hurt a lot, and I think a lot of truths were also withheld from him. But and I think I remember him telling me like he was the only person that would get along with both his father and his mother. Like his sister didn't really get along with his father, and his brother, something about his brother, I don't know. Um, so he was like the glue between his mother and his father. Um, but then he would, and I think what happened is because he would talk to me about like some hidden truths that he became aware of. So like I remember him telling me something about like his father telling him, like, you stupid for thinking that the child support, uh, like your mom is making all that money off of child support or something like that. Like he was like me in terms of feeling being naive, thinking mom is an angel, you know, she can do no wrong type thing. And his dad had another perspective that he shared with him, But I think also his dad was a player. And I think that's why they got a divorce, because his dad was cheating with their neighbor. And so I just think that that person, he picked up a lot of bad habits, bad examples. He lived with his dad. I think he had this situation of arrested development to an extent, but from what I would perceive when I would watch him, he was good with his children. And that was another reason why I loved him so much, because he was a beloved father. His kids loved him, you know. Now, I do think he had an issue with women. And I think that had to do with his unhealed mother wounds. Even though he was a narcissist, there was a reason why I loved him, And I kept on allowing things to start again, thinking that it would be different, it would be better. But now when you add in women and babies to the plot, to the story, I can't keep going like this with you. So it's just crazy to me when I think back on it, and now I'm looking at numerology in the sacred way, and I'm like, we both was 33. I think that has a lot to do with why we synced up the way that we did. But I think also we both had maybe a lot of the same wounds, and then we chose the routes that we would go in life. And I think with the spirit, on a spiritual note, he went the wrong way, or he went another way. And I do think it's more about balance. So you can't, like I said, I'm not all love and light. I don't know if he's all dark. I can't say that he is. Again, I know dark, right? I come from dark. I don't think he's all dark. I think that he had a lot of brokenness because of his dysfunctional background, you know. But again, he wasn't out here destroying other people. That's I can't say that's what he was doing. I can say when it comes to the topic of relationship and love and romance, he had some ways, you know. I think he had a vendetta, a chip on his shoulder because of his history with women, but also because of his relationship with his mother, who he was close to. But I think he also was, he would, because he was also close to his father, I think he also had information on his mother that she wouldn't talk about. You know, he never addressed with her, but he knew things. Like his dad would be trying to like open up his eyes, you know, but I think it was complicated for him because he was so close to his mom, because he was. So, and I won't rule out the idea of him being molested by a man or men when he was younger. because that was a big deal, I know, in their household, like sexual dysfunction, you know. So we actually had very similar, we had very similar um, life stories in a way. Like even when I was close with my niece and she started doing track, and then at one point I became in charge of her um, doing track. I don't know if I signed her up. I don't remember. Um, but his son, they were in track together, and so me and him would be together a lot. Like when it came to like their track meets and stuff. Like I remember taking my niece to the track meet, but picked up him and his son. So we had some great times of connection, but couldn't do relationship uh, in a consistent and healthy fashion because I couldn't deal with his need for other women and needing to triangulate me with other women. Um, because I just think he didn't feel safe. He didn't feel safe. So, I had to back out of that. Because if you don't feel safe, so now you trying to, make it unsafe for me, um, I can't do that, right? So, but in terms of out here trying to take lives and all of that stuff, like doing drugs, like none of that. He wasn't doing none of that. For the time that I knew him, he wasn't even drinking. I drank. He wouldn't drink. He used to before me, and then he stopped because he had a scare, and he stopped. But very interesting, deep and interesting. So, yeah. So now he has the 33 in his sacred numerology. But again, that 8, I think, threw him off because it's about money and it's about gains. Um, and yeah. So now, going back to, you know, um, that just threw me off a little bit. I'm sorry. Because I never really sat down and compared it that way. Because this is information that I'm kind of getting into myself on this level. Um, you know. So then talking over myself, when I see that, when I do my sacred numerology, I'm life path 33. 33 is, like I said, a master healer. So, okay, for myself, I know that like when I was younger, I used to get into fights a lot. But I wouldn't be out seeking to fight, but I was approached a lot to fight because of envious energies. But I remember when I was in elementary school, starting out, the reason why I would fight was because I'd be um, fighting my best friend's bullies because she was so small and little, and they would pick on her and make her cry, and so now I gotta fight. That was my mojo. I gotta fight you and beat you up because I'm defending my friend. And then it turned into because we didn't remain going to school together. So anytime after that, where I would get into a fight, it was because of me being approached by hating, envious females who are known for fighting, and now they want to fight me. Um, so in terms of like out and about hurting people, that's not something that I was about, never been about, you know. But being hurt a lot, I think that's something. So even with my ex, the one that I was just talking about is the rapper. He, I'm sure he attracted a lot of people who wanted to hurt him because I attracted a lot of people that wanted to hurt me, you know. And so, um, but it's like they want to benefit off of you and hurt you, you know. And also going back to him, I think he was presented with like opportunities to get into the dark arts, and I think he took those opportunities, you know. And not this, just think, he told me about some interactions that he had with some people sometimes, and what they were into, and then him, you know, making connections to these people. And he was gifted. And I think all of that got stirred up to him just getting more into dark, more dark spirituality. I don't talk to him today because the last interaction I had with him from a distance let me know that he was up to no good, that me remaining in contact with him was going to do me no good. Um, I hear in my head he was spiraling. Like, he was spiraling, you know, and I couldn't go down with him. You know, he was going to have to learn on his own, away from me, because I just didn't feel like he was benefiting his life. He wouldn't benefit mine, you know. But it was hard. It was 13 years back and forth with him. So now, okay, going back to 33. So that's what I'm saying. Like, doing numerology the normal way got me, you know, I'm looking at them other people. Everybody got a relationship to prison, a strong one. And then, you know, just, criminals, really. Now, the person I loved for 13 years on and off, he wasn't a criminal, you know. At least from what I knew. I think he was at one point into like scamming money-wise, but that's what I say, that number 8. So this now leads me to, it's both numbers that do matter. And I think that's what I'm having to realize for myself, because even my life path 5, it does resonate with me. But when I look at life path 6, I'm like, that's why I be like this and like that and da 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 da. It makes so much more sense. And I don't know if there's a maturation. I think there might be like a progression. Because I don't know. I think I still have to like figure it out and keep on like paying attention to the numbers. I don't know if there's like a lower vibe, like the lower, like the normal numerology is like the lower number, and then the other are like older, or I don't know. But you know what's interesting? What I will do is I'll backtrack and go back to this concept of the number 6, and then number 666, and the fact that I was able to note 33s, 3 people with 33s, and they are all in, like, they relate to the prisons, the prison system, criminals. And I know at least one of them was for sure involved in dark arts, for, you know, in harmful ways. But you know, in the Bible, what they say is 666 is what he says. He says it's the number of a man, and mark of the beast. That's what they say. Mark of the beast and the number of a man. I don't know, but what I will say, I know. Okay. The medical system. And it was even catching my attention. Was it yesterday when I was at the gym looking at the TV? Almost every time I looked at the TV, the commercials are almost 100% about medication, giving people advertising medication. Okay, so, and one of the things that I've talked about, or thought about at least, in relation to prison is like not me not being let me see, how do I want to put it? It's like when you go to prison, or just like anywhere else, say a mental health facility, which the rapper guy I used to be connected to, he used to work at one of them facilities. He would tell me how, things would be going on in there, and he talked about the medication. I feel like if you in prison, like, you don't have necessarily power over, like, say if they want to give you medication, if they want to subdue you or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how it works in there, but I know, okay, well, they have to feed you, right? You got to eat, and you're only getting food from their resources, right? I know they have like the cafeteria, whatever food, but then they also, like, you can buy commissary for them, but still, like, that food is made just for them. So are they or are they not medicated? Is it or is it not a pharmacy? Is it or is it not a farm? I do feel like when it comes to the real evil, in terms of like the evil spoken about in the Bible with, I don't know, it's like there's something about medication. It's ever since I was younger in my spirit, it was something about medication. I'm like, if I don't have to take it, if I don't have to be, dependent on medication, I won't be, you know. And I also think about the fact of like pharmacy and farm. I mean, they just respelled farm from the F to PH, but we're treated like cattle, right? So here's the thing. I just remember when I was doing some research one time, very, very deeply, in like 2019, I want to say. 2019, 2020. Oh yeah, now that makes sense. COVID, all about medication, all about it. I just remember doing some research and coming across a name. Well, no. Okay, so there was a name that equaled to 666. And the name was very similar to Kaiser. It was the name of a man. But see, the name of that man broke down to 666. Numerology, when you look at the numbers and do the calculations of the numbers equal to the letters. And I just remember looking at the name and being like, oh, that's like Kaiser. It was, I do believe, like the last name of the man's name was Kaiser. And I'm like, isn't Kaiser like one of the biggest medical companies? Like, and to me, it was like confirmation for my own suspicions that the medical field wasn't one of like real health. It's not for real healing. Right. So now that leads me to, okay, because the 33 is the master healer, and yet it's related to a field that's supposed to be of healing. And I have an up close and personal look at that energy through these other people, because everything is energy. So I have an up close and personal to that energy and seeing how destructive actually it can be. I think what happens is it's like being given a gift like a superpower gift, and you can use it for good or for bad. So say a master number 33, or somebody with master number 33 in their energy, it's like you have the power to heal. Or let's say the power that you have, with that power, you can neither heal or you can harm. But say if it's you can heal, okay, so if you can heal, that's great in itself. Healing is great in itself. The opposite of that is harming greatly. Because you can harm in a minor way. I just feel like if a person can heal, it's not ever minor. Healing is a great thing by nature. Now, harm, I feel like you can cause minor harm, but you can also cause great harm. And so I feel like I just saw the shape of the triangle in my mind. It's like, so really, it's about the power that you have and what you can do with that power. You can either heal or you can harm greatly. And I think, now it just came to me. I think perhaps even those people with the life path 33 in their normal numerology, it's like, here it is, you've been gifted power. So now you have these demons attached to you that took over you. And they took that power from you or got inside of you and had you use it for great harm. Instead, like the opposite of healing. Right? I'm still trying to work out, like, the way I've been trying to work out these numbers, it's almost, to be honest, it's almost taking me away from, oh, this is your life path. Like, it's taking me away from the concept of life paths and more so leading me towards looking at what numbers are in your energy. And I think it does matter to look at the numbers from the normal way of looking at doing numerology and what I'm calling the sacred way. Like, you got to look at both, I think, and put them together. That's what I think. So now let me do an example of that. So let's say, like, for myself, I'd have 5 and I'd have 33/6. But I think when you get to adding, I'm going to just add 6 and 5, which gives me 11, which is master teacher energy. Let's say, like, my ex, the rapper, his is 8 and 33/6. Add those two, you get 8 plus 6 is 13. Is that right? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. 14, which in tarot is temperance, but numerology, they don't go that high, so then that would be 5. So that could even explain, like, how we were so in tune, because technically I have a 5, he has a 5. I have 33/6, he has 33/6. Now I don't have 8. And that would make sense, because that's where I fell off with him. Like, I'm not about the same things that you are when it comes to trying to gain. I wasn't about it. But we did have a lot of other things in common. Let me look at my other ex, the one that is a 33. His was 4 in sacred numerology, and his normal numerology was 33. So say you add 6 and 4, you get 10, which is 1. That makes sense to me. because one is leader type of energy, and he did have that energy in him. That's, I think, one reason also why he was seen as such a big deal, because he had leadership energy, like individuality type, but also his issue, a part of his, and I wonder if it had to do with his number 4, which I think that also was a big deal. He wanted structure, family type, like he even wanted kids, but couldn't have them. But he got himself attached to women with children, trying to play daddy, because he wanted to be a father, he wanted to be a daddy, but like he even had a daughter that he eventually found out wasn't his, and she was like 2 or 3 years old. Left that girl, got with another girl who had like 4 or 5 kids and was living with them. And I remember when I told him that I was suspecting that I was pregnant. I know this all sounds messy, but listen, this is what it is. I wasn't pregnant, but I was suspecting that I might be, by him. And what he said to me was, well, if you are, keep that, because I'm going to need that. He's super hood. Super hood, super street. That's how he talks, right? And I loved him. That's mine. I'm going to stick by him. No, I didn't stick by him. But he was like, if you are, well, keep that. I'm going to need that. Like, he wanted to be a dad, but I think he realized he couldn't have kids. So, let me look at somebody else. Who else? I don't remember my mom's birthday, but I think I did just write it down. Let me look, because I was just thinking of her birthday the other day. I don't remember her other number. Don't know if I'm gonna find it. I don't know. I want to go with somebody's name because my audio already getting long enough. I don't know how long I'm gonna let it go. Who else do I know of? Oh, that's very interesting too, that ex I was just talking about, because my nephew is he has his same numbers but switched. So 4 is his normal numerology, 33 is his spiritual numerology. I'm gonna call this spiritual or sacred numerology. And you know who else's numerology I looked at was Beyonce and Jay-Z's. They have the exact same numerology. I think they're actually twin flames because they're both 3s and they're normal. No. They're both 3s and they're spiritual. They're both 5s and they're normal. And then you add both of those. You add 3 and 5, you got 8. And I met somebody else who also has that exact same breakdown too. Which is funny because when I met him, I remember, that's so funny, because when I met him, he was to me like celebrity energy, and which was funny because he did used to do music, so he was a bit of a celebrity in some kind of way. He used to be a part of a group and they used to perform, and he was fine. He could sing, he was real fine, and I told him he was fine. Like, he was very beautiful. Like, I told him, I said, I don't believe, like, you don't model because you have the face for a magazine type of thing. Like, you could probably really make money from modeling. He was very, very, very handsome. Like, very, very, very handsome. Like, uniquely handsome. I think I don't know. He had a so-called flaw. To me, it wasn't a flaw, but I think it was something maybe other people made him feel self-conscious about. Maybe some weird females. I don't know, but he had a gap. and he was self-conscious about it. And I didn't think it was a problem. I mean, that man he was so beautiful. I said, if you would be taking pictures and model, I would have your poster up in my room. I told him that because he was like that kind of attractive. Like, no lie. Like, he was that kind of attractive. Like, what he should model. But yeah, his energy was, his numbers the same exact as Beyonce and Jay-Z. Just saying. Or no, his was, yeah. Five life path. Because then that's when I realized we all was five life path 5 in our normal numerology. But his, sacred numerology, he's a 3. Add him up, he's 8. So somebody else also care a lot about money, and gains in that way. Let's see. I have a friend. His 2 numbers were, I think, 11 and 9. I just don't remember which is which. Let me see. But I know his birthday by heart. I'm just letting y'all into my mind how I think about things. 7. His birthday is 7, 2, 1. Okay. So normal numerology, he's a master number 11. Sacred numerology, he's a master 9. Sorry, not master 9. He's a 9. You add those 2 up, he is a 1. No, 11 again, actually. So this is also somebody who I've had in my life, almost all my life. Also another person, big energy, but quiet, which is funny because that's that 9 energy. It makes so much sense. It's like you have to put it all together. That's what I'm realizing now. Like, all 3 numbers do matter. You can't just go off of the 1. I think we have to put them all together. I think that's what our Holy Trinity is truly about. Because he has master number 11 2 times in this trio. And like I said, he is kind of quiet, like, and reserved in a way. But then also in another way, he's not. But usually in that way, when he's not, at least from my experience, it usually involved alcohol, But we also were in each other's lives heavy for a long time. And he's a musician, very good at what he does. He's a DJ, but he also makes music. So he's a creative, But again, very reserved. Very, for sure, his energy was very hermit-like. I remember one time we was hanging out at my house. He didn't talk almost the whole time. So, but he would be present, but he wouldn't talk, But he also was an entertainer. So it wasn't just that he was quiet. I don't know. He was always a bit of a enigma to me, but I think I was to him too. Who else? Okay, I'm getting somewhere with this. Also, my nephew having the same numbers as my thievery ex. Same numbers, 4 and 6 add up. Get a 1, very individual, leader type of energy. And that is my nephew. Let's see. There is someone else now I'm thinking of. His birthday. He was a 9-year, 9-day. Normal numerology, he was a 2. Sacred numerology, he is a 3. Did I do that right? I did not. I did his year wrong. So I'm like, no, I remember a 9 somewhere and a 1 somewhere. He was born in an 8 year. So there go that money. 8 year, 9 day, 2. So normal numerology, he's a 1. Sacred numerology, he's a 2. Add that up, he's a 3. 1, 2, and 3. Did I do that right? Let's see. 8, 9, 10. You know what? Actually, that 2 is actually an 11. So 11 and 2. Yeah. And so again, like, look how I keep on running into other master numbers. That's how you know that 33 in my energy does matter. Because he's an 11 in a way. My friend I grew up with is an 11 in a way. My numbers adding up together is an 11. And you know who else is an 11? My brother. My biological brother. In one way, his birthday, he was born in a 4 year. Yeah. Normal numerology, he's an 11. Sacred numerology, he's a 9. So just like my friend that I grew up with. Just like my friend I grew up with. The numbers don't lie. He's just like my friend I grew up with who would be like quiet and reserved. But also not quiet and reserved, at other times. And so, yeah, my brother, that's crazy. That is so crazy. And you know what's crazy too? Because like I said, he's in prison, my mom's in prison, and I swear I felt like there was like a force for the longest over my life trying to get me in prison too. I do feel that way. Who else should I do? This is fun. It's the trio. It's the trio of energies, y'all. Which takes me back to what I first wrote down, and I said, let's talk about 6, because 6 is the total for today's 2 numbers. The dates. Normal numerology, 5. Sacred numerology, 1. 5 plus 1 equals 6. And I was led to just go ahead and start talking about 6. I'm going to do, what's his name? Born in the same year as me. Normal numerology, he's a 9. This somebody else. Sacred numerology, he's a 7. 9 and 7, that must be 16, and he's a 7. So 2 7s and a 9 and 7. 7, let me see, because I just realized that the one that betrayed me real bad is a 7. So let me see something. Born in a 1 year, 6, 9. He's a 7, 5. 7 plus 5, 12, so 3. Seven, 5, and 3. That's 7. That number 7 is. I want to learn more about 7, but I think I will next year, because next year is my personal year 7. But them 2 people that have 7s that nobody else I knew has 7. Well, now I do know actually a third person that is a 7 as well. I memorized his normal is a 9. His sacred is also 7, just like that other person that I know now. Yeah, so it's all the numbers, bro. We gotta look at all the numbers. All of the numbers. So because we got to look at all the numbers, I'm gonna share how I do sacred numerology. Sacred numerology now to me is simply you got to change the months, change the months numbers. Sacred numerology to me is rearranging the numbers for the months so that they match the zodiac cycle. Zodiac cycle begins with Aries, which starts in March. So that will be 1. And you basically do it, it's basically the astrology house chart. The 12 houses. So they go, that's how the zodiac cycle is mapped out. It starts at Aries into Pisces. Aries is the first house, Pisces is the 12th house. So the way I do the sacred numerology is, so instead of 1 starting with January that introduces Aquarius, you will start the 1 with March, Aries, first house. I think you just align it properly. Like, I think to me the way it should be, but also the other way we can't say does not matter. It's just a different level to life because life is not one dimensional. Life is more than one dimension. It's multidimensional. So really, I must say there's another thing that I've started to do where it gives me 9 numbers. But I also like to keep things simple when possible. And the 3 right now seems best to kind of look into, go with, study more, you know. So the way I got my 3 numbers, January is in the normal numerology, it's the first month of the year. So they give the number 1 to January. And my birthday, adding up with the number 1 for January, that would then give me life path 5. But when I do it the other way, lining up with the zodiac cycle, January gets the number 11. It's the 11th house in the zodiac wheel. So then I do the numbers that way, and I get 33 for my sacred numerology or zodiac numerology, however you want to say it. So 12 for February in the sacred way, 2 for February in the normal, the other way. You know. You know what I just heard too? I just heard old and new. Old and new. Just like the Bible. Old Testament, New Testament. But you know, if you know about the Bible, you know that New Testament didn't come along and just get rid of Old Testament. New Testament came and enhanced the information from the Old Testament. It changed it in a way without getting rid of it. So I think that's called alchemy. I think that's an alignment with transmutation and like metamorphosis, transformation type. But it's not necessarily, oh, get rid of the old, start anew, as if the old never existed. So I almost feel like normal numerology is old. Sacred numerology is new. But then you put it all together, right? Because Old Testament, New Testament all exist in the same Bible. 66 chapters, which to me is another significant number, 66. 66 chapters. And then think about it, you put 66, 6 and 6 is 12. Number 1, 12 and 12 disciples, right? But 12 is 3, and 3 is the number of creation. The Bible is all about the story of creation, right? I'm about to go ham with this information because I ain't got much to do today. I'm about to really dive in, but yeah, that's how I'm thinking of it now. It's the old and new. And the concept of duality, the concept of multiplicity, I'm writing that down. Multiplicity, the concept of multi-dimensions, multiple dimensions, multi-dimensional, but also Trinity. If we're focused on the three numbers, Trinity. And I am thinking of a triangle. So the two corners at the bottom and then the one at the top. And also you got those three angles, each angle being, is it 60 degrees? I wanted to say 30, but that's not right. Or is it? God damn it, I forgot. Which triangle is 180 degrees total, which would bring each angle at 60 degrees? Because 90 is right angle. 90, 30, 30. But I think each triangle has to add up to 180 degrees. Yeah, so that means, okay, yeah. So that means that, oh, look at that. Each angle is 60 degrees. Which equals up to what? 180. But also, that's 666 right there. I just heard knowledge. So I think, going back to when I was talking about the 666 number, I think, because of the whole fear-mongering thing, I think there is something about knowledge when it comes to that. Like it's a code for knowledge or something like that. And that reminds me of when Jesus said, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. You know, and I go back to talking about when I was saying like the whole thing about information, divine information. I think the 666, that's nothing but the triangle. Yeah, because it can't be 30. It has to be 60 because the triangle equals up to 180 degrees. So it's your numbers. It's your Holy Trinity. But see, I also think we have that in other ways as well, not just our birthday. Because my name, I mean, just think about your name, how you have first, middle, and last. So that's 3 names. And then you can get numbers from that as well. And my 3, at least with me being adopted and having another name added on to the end, my numbers add up to 369. One of my numbers is a 3, adds up to a 3. One of them adds up to a 9. One of them adds up to a 6. And so there's that 369, which is a significant number. Yeah. But I think there's a thing of the old and the new, and then putting together the old and new. And then what do you get? You know. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think, I think I need to, look deeper into this stuff for myself. And I was just kind of intuitively led to share that on today's recording. There will be more to come, but I was thinking of changing my channel name to Mind of a Mystic because just it'd be all about what's going on in my mind. But that's my mind this morning. Yeah, okay. That's it. I don't know how to end it. Just, till next time. Bye. Thanks for listening.